Good evening, everyone. Today is October 2nd, 2025. Here are the top headlines in cybersecurity news. DrayTek warns of critical router flaw. Networking vendor DrayTek is urging customers to update their Vigor routers immediately after researchers uncovered a remote code execution vulnerability. The flaw, tracked as CVE 2025105547, allows attackers to send specially crafted web requests that can fully compromise a device, no login required. While no attacks have been spotted in the wild yet, researchers have already developed a working exploit. DrayTek recommends patching firmware and disabling remote management features until fixed. Bug bounty boom, HackerOne payouts hit $81 million. Bug bounty platform HackerOne has released its annual report, revealing that security researchers earned a record-breaking $81 million in rewards over the past year, a 13% jump from the previous cycle. What's driving the surge? Vulnerabilities in AI systems. Reports of prompt injection flaws alone skyrocketed more than 500%, making them the fastest-growing class of security issue. Meanwhile, traditional web bugs like cross-site scripting continue to decline. Some of the world's top hackers are now making six-figure incomes, with leading programs including Uber, GitHub, and the U.S. Department of Defense. Confucius hackers return with new malware arsenal. The notorious Confucius threat group, which has a history of espionage campaigns in South Asia, has resurfaced with two new pieces of malware, WooperStealer and Anondoor. Delivered through phishing emails and DLL sideloading tricks, WooperStealer focuses on stealing documents, browser data, and credentials, while Anondoor gives attackers full control of infected systems. Analysts warn this shows the group is evolving quickly, adopting stealthier and more sophisticated methods to continue spying on Pakistani targets. Microsoft Defender bug causes BIOS update panic. This week, Windows users were startled when Microsoft Defender began throwing out alerts about suspicious BIOS updates, an alarming message that hinted at possible firmware tampering. Luckily, it turned out to be a false positive. Microsoft confirmed the bug stemmed from an issue with the Defender signatures, not real malware activity. The company has since fixed the glitch, but it highlights how easily trust can be shaken when security tools themselves make mistakes. Your help desk could be your weakest link. A new report warns that corporate service desks are increasingly being exploited as an entry point for attackers. By impersonating employees and tricking staff into resetting credentials, hackers can bypass traditional security controls. Experts recommend stronger verification steps, tighter permissions on password resets, and widespread adoption of multi-factor authentication to harden this overlooked attack surface. Malicious Python package infects thousands. A backdoored Python package on the official PyPI repository, called SupSox, managed to infect more than 2,600 systems before it was pulled down. Once installed, the package provided attackers with remote access, enabling data theft and persistent backdoors. It's the latest example of how the open-source software ecosystem can be abused by threat actors, putting developers and organizations at risk if they don't carefully vet their dependencies. KB4Con EMEA 2025, more than just another conference. Security awareness training giant KnowB4 is gearing up for its flagship event, KB4Con EMEA 2025, this October. Organizers say the event will feature deep dive sessions on phishing defense, AI-driven attacks, and social engineering tactics. Attendees can expect hands-on labs, expert panels, and plenty of networking opportunities. It's being pitched as a must-attend gathering for IT leaders and defenders across Europe. Threats Day Bulletin, a mix of old and new. This week's Threats Day Bulletin highlights several notable issues. Among them, a CarPlay exploit that could be abused in vehicle infotainment systems, bring your own vulnerable driver, BYOVD, tactics that allow attackers to load malicious code, SQL-based command and control infrastructure popping up in campaigns, and renewed pressure from governments to insert backdoors into iCloud for lawful access. Analysts say the mix shows how attackers are blending new methods with persistent, long-running techniques. Android spyware masquerades as Signal and to talk. Security researchers have discovered malware-laced Android apps pretending to be secure messengers like Signal and TikTok. These fake apps are being distributed outside of official app stores, and once installed, they quietly spy on users, intercepting messages, recording calls, and harvesting device data. The campaign underscores the danger of sideloading apps from untrusted sources. Red Hat confirms GitLab breach. Enterprise Linux provider Red Hat has confirmed that attackers breached its internal GitLab instance. While the company says critical products and builds weren't affected, it's still investigating the scope. Red Hat is rotating credentials and tightening its CI/CD pipelines to ensure no malicious code slips into production. The incident highlights the growing trend of supply chain attacks targeting developer infrastructure. Clop Ransomware Group makes new extortion claims. The Clop ransomware gang is now sending out mass emails claiming they've stolen data from Oracle's eBusiness Suite customers. They're demanding payment to avoid leaks, though Oracle hasn't confirmed any compromise of its systems. Analysts suggest Clop may be bluffing as part of a scare tactic, but the campaign shows how extortion groups are widening their net to pressure victims. CISA furlough raises alarms. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, is facing a furlough scheme that could force staff reductions, sparking concerns about weakened defenses at the federal level. With rising cyber threats, experts warn that even short-term workforce cuts could slow responses to critical incidents and embolden adversaries targeting U.S. infrastructure. Before we wrap up today's headlines, let's take a moment for a deeper dive into one of the most important concepts in cybersecurity today: zero trust. What exactly is zero trust? At its core, zero trust is a security philosophy that flips the traditional model on its head. For decades, organizations treated their networks like castles. If you were inside the walls, you were trusted. But attackers figured this out. Once they slipped past the gate, they could move around freely. Zero trust says no one is trusted automatically. Every user, every device, every application, whether inside or outside the network, must continuously prove they are who they say they are, and only get the exact level of access they need. Why is it so important? Because the threat landscape has changed. Employees are working remotely, apps live in the cloud, and attackers are smarter than ever. A stolen password, a misconfigured server, or a single infected laptop can be all it takes to launch a major breach. Zero trust limits the blast radius by enforcing least privilege access and continuous verification. That means even if one door is kicked in, the intruder can't roam the building. And here's where it gets real. When Colonial Pipeline was hit by ransomware in 2021, one compromised VPN account helped attackers shut down a critical energy supply. Analysts later said a zero-trust approach could have contained the intrusion before it spread. In contrast, some financial institutions that have adopted zero-trust frameworks have successfully stopped insider threats, detecting unusual access patterns, automatically cutting off sessions, and preventing sensitive data from leaving the network. Even the U.S. government has recognized its importance. In 2022, the White House mandated federal agencies adopt a zero-trust architecture to protect national infrastructure. So if you hear the term zero trust floating around, remember, it's not a product you can buy, it's a mindset. Verify everyone, grant only what's necessary, and always assume a breach could happen. Done right, zero trust doesn't just strengthen security, it builds resilience. If your organization wants to move toward zero trust, you don't have to start from scratch. In fact, some of the best frameworks and templates are freely available from trusted sources, which I will leave links in the description. And that wraps up today's cybersecurity headlines. From router flaws and rising bug bounty payouts to spyware campaigns and zero trust frameworks, it's clear the digital battlefield never sleeps. If you found today's update helpful, don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and share this podcast with your team, because cybersecurity is everyone's responsibility. We'll be back tomorrow with more breaking stories, deeper dives, and practical insights to help you stay secure in a world where threats move fast. Until then, stay alert, stay safe, and remember, in cybersecurity, trust is earned, never assumed.